All right, guys, welcome to Loud American Discussing Soccer Podcast, or LADS Podcast. I am at Founding Fathers Bar and Grill on 16th and South Street. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and I am joined by Bryan, who is the president of PhillySpurs. So, Bryan, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing today?
Well, thank you. I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. This is the new series I've been doing. I just got done talking to Chelsea yesterday. I'm obviously in enemy territory right now. I'm as the Arsenal fan of the podcast. So are you okay with me? I'm actually wearing my Arsenal windbreaker right now. Are you okay? Does this sting?
You might be the first person to wear Arsenal in Founding Fathers. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So.
I'm the founding father of wearing Arsenal in Founding Fathers.
Maybe. We'll see.
All right. Do you ever get that here when people come? Is there ever like the typical Philly fuck you, like any Arsenal fans come here?
Yeah, we've never had Arsenal in the house, or at least they've been smart enough to not let us know that.
Okay.
When they're here, but we
low key.
Yeah, we have had a few people that come in, fans of other teams. You know,
Mm-hmm.
We try to be inclusive in that sense, and welcome one or two stragglers. One thing that doesn't go over well is overt cheering for the other team when they're with us. And once you do that, then we'll lay into you a little bit.
Well, I mean, it's deserved. If you're coming to my place, you're coming into my house and eating my food. That's kind of rude.
Yeah, we give you a pass until you start overtly cheering. We have one of our guys. His brother is an Everton fan and came when we were at our old bar and came out to a match, and I forget what it was. I think they went up early on something, or we were up 3-0 and gave up a late goal. I think that's what it was. Something to that effect. And he jumped up and was like, "Yeah!"
Did everyone?
And everybody was like, "Shut up!" and throwing napkins at him.
Just
and
death
stuff,
stare,
Yeah,
just get the fuck. Yeah.
And then he just sat back down. He's like, "Woo! All right."
Yeah. Got my 2 cents in. All right.
So we have that, and I think one of the last games I was at, we saw some people that were obviously here with a friend. That was, someone was wearing a Dortmund shirt, and someone else was wearing something else, maybe a Spain shirt or a Madrid.
So you got
shirt
little randos going on.
We do have people that are kind of maybe new to the game, maybe fans of other leagues that are kind of popping in with friends that are Tottenham fans just to check out the game, and they're usually pretty welcome.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, for that. So I'm allowed here, right?
Do not.
I won't wear.
Do not show up for a North London derby here, because I will actually escort you out.
I didn't plan on it, but okay. So Bryan, tell me about yourself. How'd you get into soccer or football? Are you a soccer or football guy?
I'll do both.
Okay,
either or.
You swing both ways. All right, cool.
Yeah. When talking about the U.S. team or MLS, I usually go with soccer. When I'm with friends or whatever, talking Tottenham during a game day or something, I'll usually say football. But
okay.
I'll use them interchangeably and don't have a problem either way of someone calling either one. But I guess I got into it. I guess the very beginnings of it, my first exposure to it was probably playing FIFA.
That is such a great gateway now.
It is. I mean, this was back in probably 2003, 2004 when we started playing it. My one good friend and roommate went to Rome for a study abroad semester and came back and was talking about it. And he's like, "We're going to start playing. We're adding soccer into our repertoire of video game play."
Yeah.
Basically. So we just kind of got into that, and I think that was my first foray into Spurs at that point in time.
And that's like my little cousins. All of them know these soccer players. They don't watch it, but they all play FIFA. And that's how I got really exposed to it in college. You know what I mean? We were we're going to have a FIFA night. I'm like, what do you mean? We're literally going to play against each other and just switch off controllers for hours, and we're probably going to drink. And I went, that sounds amazing. Okay. And then
I'm in.
Yeah. And I think FIFA has done so well to just really to say what you want about NBC Sports and everything. I think FIFA's been probably the biggest proponent in terms of boosting popularity in America.
I think that's undoubtable. I don't know if I'll say biggest or anything like that, but it's certainly helped. And I think the availability of soccer on TV now is making it undeniable that it's a huge moneymaker, huge growing commodity in the U.S. So, but I got into it there kind of playing. I think when we started playing national teams, and I kind of, I'm Irish, so I glommed onto Ireland real quick, and back then it was Robbie Keane was their big scorer, and he was playing for Tottenham at the time. So when we started, dabbling into the clubs, I went over there because I was like, I can just score goals with him all the time. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I first got into them, and then By the time like World Cup 2006 rolled around, I was like, okay, this is fun. This is like legitimately
Just
fun.
ramped up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it took it to kind of a different level. And then by the time probably around, I think it was around 2008, I was still kind of watching it occasionally, getting into it, but I wound up getting sleep apnea in 2008, and so
I'm so sorry.
So I was not sleeping for about 8 months. So I was up early on weekends and watching. I think at the time it was ESPN had the early morning 7:30 kickoff on the East Coast, 7:30 kickoff game every week. So I was up. There was no cartoons on back then. So
No other sports. I mean, yeah.
nothing else that was worthy of time. The only thing live, and I could just put it on and watch that in the morning. And I started really getting into it, and kind of went back to watching Spurs again because I was like, oh yeah, that's the team I used to play in FIFA. And
that's a lot of people. They say like, oh yeah, I just really like playing this team in FIFA. A lot of my friends now, I'm like, all right, like one of my friends, diehard Dortmund fan. I'm like, really? Like what about Dortmund? It's like, was it like when Klopp was there, like when Lewandowski? He's like, no, I just picked him in FIFA. I thought they had really fast players. I'm like, okay, all right. Yeah,
so I got into it there, and I want to say I really got into it after that. I had gotten into it with that, and then started buying the Fox Soccer package when that was the TV option back then, and just got into the English Premier League more and more. And by the time 2010 rolled around, I was all in on Spurs at that point in time with Rafa van der Vaart and Gareth Bale kind of emerging, and Luka Modric was there around that time as well, and watching those guys in Champions League and stuff really, I was just in.
Crouchy, right? Peter Crouch, or was he a little?
Crouch was back then.
Crouchy, yeah. God, classic Spur.
He's one of the funniest guys I've ever seen on. Like,
he has
Twitter
a podcast now.
He's great.
It's so good.
Oh, does he? I'll have to check that out.
He's hilarious.
Fantastic. He's a really funny guy.
Oh my God.
Everything I've ever heard. My favorite interview question of him was someone asked him once. I think he was in like a school. Someone goes, "Oh, what would you have been if you weren't a professional footballer when you grew up?" And I think it was like a high school age kids or something. And his direct response was a virgin. So that was. I've always been a fan of him after that, and especially scoring those goals that got them into Champions League and all that. So, and around that time, the World Cup came back around again in 2010, and I was done. I was in. That was it. And
had a stranglehold on you. You're just like, yep, this is it. This is
done. I'm going with it. So, I started going to Fido to watch matches because that was just kind of like a catch-all soccer bar, for lack of a better term, here in Philadelphia. And it
was the jungle juice of soccer, it was just a melting pot.
Everybody all together watching that just on the morning. So I'd go in and catch the Tottenham games, and there'd be a decent number of Tottenham people there at that point in time, and that's basically around the time that the Philadelphia Spurs started.
So yeah, what was the year that Philly Spurs started?
It looks like we were officially recognized back in 2011.
Okay.
Or I guess it was the end of the 2010-11 season that they put the effort in to get recognized by the club. And so we were, I think, officially recognized starting with the 2011-2012 season is when we got officially recognized. I wasn't a part of that effort back then, and I wrote these guys' names down, so I made sure
give them a shout out.
Wrong, yeah. The guys that kind of really put the effort into getting organized were Eric Nash, Aaron Meeker, and Frank O'Donnell.
Okay.
And those guys really kind of gelled the group at Fido for a while. And we've been like an officially recognized supporters club basically since then.
Okay, yeah, because the thing is, like, for a couple of the ones I've interviewed, like Manchester United, I believe Liverpool as well, I can't remember, they're unofficial, so they don't have, like, dues that people play. So do your members pay dues and are, like, officially recognized by, like, Tottenham, like, back in London?
Yeah, so... we basically are an official supporters club recognized by Tottenham. So you go to their website, you can find us there, listed on, with all of the different clubs around the world. They have a few hundred official supporters clubs scattered all around. And what that meant for us was basically having theoretically having a board of people together to kind of run the club, and then having at least 15 people, registered, let's say, with Tottenham, because they basically issue like what they call a client reference number, and it's free to sign up and get one of those. So you can just register with them and then get on their email list.
Okay, yeah.
And we're kind of at that point in time, we just pulled together. I think it was 15 people is what we needed. So we just pulled together people's reference numbers at that point in time and sent them back to London and said, these are our people. And I think they cross-referenced it to make sure it wasn't made up and verified stuff. And
and try not to get scammed.
Yeah, and we were officially recognized as a club by them at that point in time. So that's kind of how we did it. But to go back to your original question, we do have people pay dues. It doesn't go so much to paying Tottenham or anything like that, but what it does is, we have a membership scarf every year. We have, we did this year, I think we did a keychain bottle opener with the PhillySpurs logo and stuff on it.
Oh, that's wicked.
Yeah, and we also have membership cards that actually you get a discount here at Founding Fathers when you come in as a member.
Okay. Do you guys also have? I know a couple of the organizations plan trips as well as an organization. So you guys have gone over to London, or have you got? Or
we've never done a full group trip with that. The way that Tottenham does their ticketing, they do have ways that we can do that, but we've never really taken advantage of that.
Okay.
Yet. Yeah. Because it was back when it was the White Hart Lane, there was only 36,000 seats or whatever, 32,000 seats, whatever it was. So it was actually difficult to do things like group ticketing. And so that's obviously still up in the air because we don't have a home stadium at the moment. But, we'll see how that goes in the future. If that's something that we can do, we'll obviously try to do that. But we do kind of organize more trips when they come over to the U.S. So like last summer, we took 110 people up to Red Bull Arena when they played Roma in that farce of an ICC Cup or whatever they call it.
Oh, the International Champions Cup, which
yes.
denied our media passes. But that's another story. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get contentious. But
they're atrocious.
They are really bad. No, we can say that they're really bad.
They're terrible.
Okay. So you're now at Founding Fathers.
Yes.
And you were originally at Fado's, correct?
Yeah, we were at Fado.
Fado, whatever. Yeah.
We were back there for a long time, and then I guess it was probably around the end of the 14-15 season. Maybe there was a lot of people there, so they were showing a lot of showing the Tottenham on the big screen a lot of times. And there was kind of like maybe a faction within the group that were like, we need our own bar. And so with the 2016 season, Fado was actually closed for the first 2 weeks of the Premier League season because they were doing all of these renovations after during the summer. They had to postpone it because of the Democratic National Convention that was in town.
Who cares about that? Yeah, the soccer's on.
Right. So everybody was kind of like, what are we going to do? And so
full panic mode.
Basically, yeah. And so at that point, someone in our group, Josh Orlinski, stepped up, and he was a bartender back at another bar that we were at the time. Had been there for a year working and stuff, and was like, hey, come to my place. And so that became our home bar, and we were there for about a year and a half. Unfortunately, after that first season, Josh and his wife moved out of town for his wife's job and everything. And so we kind of lost that in at the bar. And we were working with them. We thought we were doing pretty well with things up until we had a North London derby that kicked off at 7:30 in the morning in November of that year.
Prime time, yeah.
Prime time. And we were expecting like 100 people.
Oh, yeah.
150, 120 people, something like that. And they didn't open. They weren't open in time to let us in or do anything like that.
Did you even make it to the second half? Was there riots? What happened? Like, that's a North London derby, Like that's like religion. Like they closed church off.
It was a problem.
Yeah.
So we were where we were centrally downtown, and Luckily enough, we just kind of at about 7:15 just made the executive decision. We're not here today. We got to go to Fido. And so we walked into Fido, and I don't know, there were definitely people that didn't go with us. And there were a lot, but we rolled into Fido at about 7:30 with about 60 to 70 people. And you should like the
seen
guys
the
that
face.
were there. They were like, they just looked at us, and one of the guys on our board just knew their management well, and he's like, "We're really sorry, but this is what happened." They're like, "Come on in, no problem."
At least they were like accommodating. Yeah.
So they were actually really great to us, and I can't thank them enough because they kind of served as our interim home for a while we were homeless for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so we
Lost SC.
We were wandering, much like our team currently is.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Yeah.
But yeah, so we were there, and so we kind of launched a search for a new home bar and eventually wound up here at Founding Fathers.
All right, yeah. So I got to say, this is my first time in Founding Fathers, and nice one, guys. This is a really nice bar. This is like look clean, just looks very modern, and like lots of TVs. Like that's my first thing I walked in. I'm like, I will not miss a game or miss any part of the action when I'm here.
Yeah, they have been fantastic for us. Greg and all of his staff here. Greg's the general manager. They've been fantastic with us. When we first approached them about coming here, they were really open to listening to us and what we were looking for, what we wanted in a home bar, and they were really honest with us about what they could and couldn't do, and what they wanted to kind of work on and, let's say, build the relationship between the club and the bar. And they've just been fantastic since we've been here. The like you said, the place is always clean when we walk in.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's got great light, big windows in the front that open up once the weather's warmer.
Yeah, the atmosphere just seems just like when I walked in, I'm like, yes, I could see myself coming here, not in any Arsenal like attire, but like just coming here like not during game day. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna tell my friends and be like, because I live right here in Point Breeze, like so I'm not that far away. But like, let's go to Founding Fathers. Like it's on do like a booze cruise down South Street. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And they've got a great lineup of beers. They've got good food when the kitchen's open. It was really the total package of what we were looking for. And like you said, if you've not been here before, for a sporting event, this has got to be like the highest ratio of televisions to
space
consumers that's in the city at a sports bar, in my opinion. It's just everywhere you look is a television with stuff on, and when we've got our games, it's just us on the TV, which is really nice. So that's basically everything that's playing. We did run into a couple of, I won't even call it hiccups because nothing kind of overlapped, but our first. I want to say 4 of our first 5 matches that we had here ran right up against the Eagles playoffs last season and Super Bowl and everything else. So we were kind of in and out and
a little problematic
and running up, and some of those Eagles fans that came in had no idea what they were looking at, but you just saw them when we started cheering and singing in the match. Some guys busted out phones to like film it, just watching us going, talking to us after going, what the fuck is this? Like, what are you guys doing?
They could have walked in on like a Chinese, like Buddhist meeting. It'd been the same to them. They were like, what is this religion I'm looking at right now? Yeah. So how is the atmosphere here during match day? Like, are you guys singing like Harry Kane, he's one of us? Are you guys doing all the songs?
We're doing the songs.
When the Spurs go marching. My Arsenal fan base is going to fucking murder me.
They might take that jacket back.
Yeah, I might get excommunicated from Arsenal. So,
but yeah, there's some singing and chanting and stuff like that, and everybody's having a good time. We got a pretty wide range of ages of people that come in. There's people on some of the later games that come in with their kids, and the kids are singing along with us and stuff. And hopefully they don't hear half of the words coming out of most of our mouths.
Lots of C words.
No. We're actually pretty good with that. That's a word that me and many people just we hate it. So we don't. We
see you next Tuesday. Not a big fan. Okay.
No, not at all. So our Facebook groups and stuff that we actually don't tolerate a lot of that language because as much as that's a commonly used word in England and it's in so many chants that Tottenham sings, especially directed at Sol Campbell.
Guys, we'll do this one, but just not that. We can't.
Yeah, exactly. So we try to just stay away from that, and we try to be inclusive, like I said earlier, and try to there are women that come out to almost all of our games. There are people that come out with like little children to a lot of our games. So that's one of those words that, is just I don't like it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a very inappropriate. I use it like I curse like a sailor. So for me, but I wouldn't do it in front of a kid or like, in front of like a mom or like someone. If I see someone who's like could be my sister, I'm like, I'm not going to
And so, our usual bartender here is a woman on the weekend. So I'm not going to, we don't really like that hanging around. Anybody that may say it that's visiting or anything else, they're not going to get, thrown out or scolded or anything.
Like,
kindly don't. Let's not sing that one here today, please. Okay.
Let's just not. All right. So let's move into some footy talk. This has been great.
Yeah.
Thank you. So what are our expectations for the season? What is as a Tottenham fan? I know we're approaching week 7 of the Prem. You've gotten some Champions League action. You've got some League Cup. All right. Well, Bryan's taking a big sip for all our listeners at home. All right, here we go. So what's going on with Tottenham?
Yesterday was way too stressful for me. God.
You didn't lose the derby though. We did lose the derby.
We did not lose. Yeah. But I think the expectation this year is, like the absolute minimum is finish top 4 and get back to Champions League again. I should also add to that getting out of the group in Champions League, getting to the round of 16 is sort of the absolute minimum.
You guys won the group last year. Just saying.
We did win the group last year, so there is a bit of a expectation again. With
Hang that up.
Yeah. Winning your group is great, especially the group of death. But you want to see more from that. You want to see silverware. Bottom line. So I was talking with some people, and I think that's the expectation is it's time to take that next step. And I don't know if that's a League Cup, if it's an FA Cup.
I think just anything, just in general, would be nice.
Is good, and not the ICC.
Okay.
Which we did win over the summer, apparently.
So, I mean, that's a trophy. Put that in the trophy
But
case.
that doesn't count. So that one does not count.
I don't count it because we weren't invited. So I'm gonna just throw that one out. It's not because of Tottenham. It's because they denied our media passes. So
that understood. Like I said, they're dreadful. I went to the game. They did this stupid thing called like dynamic pricing. So they quoted us prices. We purchased tickets, and then they said, "Well, no, you got to owe us more now." That was last year. So and they also basically put it together that we had to collect all of our money within 4 days from people. So we were actually last year for that match in New York, or Harrison, New Jersey, more appropriately. We actually just kind of went around the ICC and didn't deal with them, and actually dealt directly with someone had a contact with a ticket rep up there, and we just dealt with them and got tickets right in the supporter section. So we were all in that atmosphere and had a good time. But yeah, the pricing thing was a mess, and it happened again this year when they played this year in San Diego, Los Angeles, and Minneapolis, and they did the same thing again, where it's get us your money in 4 days for whatever tickets you want and pay us. And
for these
then
five
things moved around, and
for 5 times, what is it? $9.99. These 5 times, pay this, and it's highway robbery.
It's ridiculous. That said, I still paid to go to 2 games this year. So
okay, all right.
But yeah. So I mean, it's just kind of a bit of a joke. They're terrible, but.
Well, what do you think? So for me, when I did my top before my preseason, this was my top 4. I had Liverpool 1, City 2, United 3, which has changed now, and then I had Tottenham 4, and then I had Chelsea 5, and then Arsenal 6. So I'm just my unbiased top 6.
Yeah.
Now I'm having you guys probably at 4th still. So I'm having like Liverpool, City, now Chelsea. I don't think United even makes top 4 now unless they somehow ride this ship. And then you guys are like 4th. Does that sound reasonable to you?
I think that's about where I would put us too.
Okay.
I don't know if Chelsea will stay up there or not. One thing watching Tottenham all those years, if you're not ready for the grind of, let's say, the holidays and once
the Christmas schedule
comes up,
which is bullshit.
And then once the Europa League stuff kicks off, if they get out of that, then they've got a big fixture congestion again after the holidays, and you've got FA Cup hitting up at that time as well. You're going to struggle. So I don't know if those guys will necessarily be there with, if they've got that or not. So like you said, I more or less have what you had as a top 5. I think it's going to be City, Liverpool.
Oh, you think City pulls it up on top?
I think so. I think
that sounds like Liverpool.
I'm mostly I say it just to spite the smug Liverpool fans, but
I mean, okay,
but yeah, no, I still think City is probably the better team overall. And again, I think it comes down to who manages their squad better. And in the grand scheme of things, I think Pep is just a bit better than Jurgen Klopp at that.
Yeah, and I would definitely agree. I think Pep is a genius. I mean, the guy literally just like. He's a centurion. He broke 100 points last year. I mean, when I love watching like NBC break it down with the 2 Robbies when they do like this is how he sets up his team in this like weird grid, and I'm like I don't even see that. Like, and how he's like he could be 5-0 up, and he's just still yelling like, no, you're not in your right perfect because he just wants perfection.
Right.
Jurgen Klopp's just like rock and roll. Let's go. Just run up the pitch.
So yeah, I mean, in that sense, I think City might be better off long term in that sense. So that's why I kind of move them up, and I've got Tottenham, Chelsea in that 3-4 area. It could flip flop.
I don't know. Have you seen Unai Emery? He's cooking with gas, low key winning the past like 3 games or so in a row.
I'm not convinced Arsenal are gonna.
No, yeah, me neither. Neither am I.
But
neither am I. So.
But yeah, so we'll see what happens there.
So what do you think's the biggest thing holding your team back? What do you think's the biggest thing from competing for the title or competing for the Champions League?
Right now, I think I really think it's a true home at the moment.
A wandering ghost of a home right now.
The Tottenham. I don't even know what would we call ourselves. The Wandering Hotspurs. Wandering Hotspur. I don't know.
Wandering Wolves. I mean, that is a team. So.
So we need to get into the new stadium. We need to get that home atmosphere going. I really thought that, from a squad standpoint and everything, the way that they were kind of aiming and the way that they were making moves in the transfer window, they were aiming for this season to be a season to win, hardware, open the new stadium, make it this fortress, and really capitalize on that. And right now, I think that's struggling a bit with the players. I really think that a lot of the guys are fatigued after the World Cup.
England was Tottenham B. I mean, it was literally just nothing but Tottenham players.
We had nine play. We sent 12 players or 13 players to the World Cup. I forgot the number now, and 9 of them were in the semifinals.
Oh yeah.
So there was no other, I think, no club squad that had that many players go that far into the tournament.
Well, I mean, like for me, like I don't support Tottenham, obviously, but the World Cup, I was like Kieran Trippier and Harry Kane, Dele Alli, all those guys. I'm like, these guys are my best friends now. Like, I love these guys. When he scored that free kick against Croatia, I was like, I'm gonna get him tattooed on me, like as a Tottenham player. Like I loved them all.
Those guys played great. Throw in our Belgian trio as well, and Hugo Lloris was lifting the trophy.
Yeah,
as the captain of France. They've played a lot of football over the last couple years. And then now you throw in this stupid League of Nations or whatever the hell it's called, in UEFA, and they're now playing more meaningful games again, and so I worry about fatigue from the guys and just needing a break. That's probably one of the things I think is holding them back right now. I think once the season gets in and they get more into
rhythm,
the rhythm and the squad rotation as more matches kind of pop up, it'll probably get better. A lot of those guys didn't come back. Anybody in the semifinal didn't come back until like 10 days before the season started. So they kind of just jumped right back into everything.
You got to like recalibrate at that point. You got to be like, what's going on?
Right.
Would you like to apologize about Hugo Lloris and his drunk driving because he's not been in my fantasy team and he's costing me points weekly? I just want to.
No.
I need a comment.
He is hurt at the moment.
Okay.
So he is. I think today they said
from too much alcohol.
No, not from that. No, I mean, but he's been hurt. But yeah, I mean that DUI is embarrassing.
It's all right. Wayne Rooney had like 10, so it's fine.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sit in a glass house and throw stones or anything like that on that. It's a mistake. He's been fined. He did all of the usual things that happen when something like that occurs, and That's one of the things. I don't wind up jumping on anybody.
No,
anymore.
yeah.
Life's too short and karma's too much of a bitch.
Oh, trust me, I've made way more mistakes than Hugo Lloris.
Oh, absolutely.
It actually made me like him more. It's like more relatable. I was like, all right, yeah, I can get behind this guy.
Yeah,
the guy likes to have a good time.
Yeah, out celebrating. I forget what they said who he had, but he had like Giroux and
Oh, I mean, it was just downhill.
somebody else in the car with him, and it's just.
I'm surprised Giroud couldn't convince the cop with his good looks. Be like, look at me, don't.
God. Yeah.
Anyway, also another thing with the FIFA 11 awards, very surprised that, or the FIFA awards that just happened, that Courtois, like again, I'm not saying I'm a Tottenham homer. It might sound like I am, but I thought Lloris was better than Courtois in terms of the year. Right?
You would think, yeah.
Am I crazy? That guy can't even start for Real Madrid, and when he does, he lets in 3 goals against Sevilla. So
yeah, you would think. A lot of people commented on it too. That as great of a year as Luka Modric had, winning Champions League, finishing second in the World Cup, and all of that.
Golden Ball, yeah.
Golden Ball. It was still one of his worst years in the last couple of years. He was a better player in several. For the last couple of years, better than he was, let's say, last year. So, I mean, the FIFA, as with most things with FIFA, it's kind of like a crock and whatever. You take it with a grain of salt.
It's either corruption, bullshit. I really can't get a read on FIFA ever. But the thing I brought up in the podcast, I was like, every time I bring up FIFA, it's never good. Yeah. It's literally every time I'm like, if it's a video game, microtransactions. Here we go. Who's your favorite player on Tottenham?
That's a great question.
You can do current and of all time. Would it be Keane?
Oh, no, probably wouldn't be Keane. I think the one guy that I just, I wasn't watching the team much when Keane was playing too often. When I first started watching him, he left the team like very shortly after. So he was probably my favorite video game player. But
weird choice, but yeah.
Yeah, But it's probably out of all of the guys that I've watched, and I won't go back.
You can say Jurgen Klinsmann. It's fine.
It's not Jurgen Klinsmann. No, but my favorite guy to watch when he was playing for Tottenham was probably Rafa van der Vaart.
Oh.
I loved watching him play. He was a guy. When I started watching, when you start watching soccer or football, you look at the guys that score the goals, and so. Van der Vaart did that, but he was just everywhere. And so I'd watch him move, and I think that's the first time I really started noticing, off-the-ball movement.
How you position yourself
and how you decide where and when to run. So watching him do that gave me, a better appreciation for the game and realizing that there's so much that happens off the ball
that people don't realize.
People don't realize. If you're only watching the ball, you're missing 3/4 of the game. So he's probably my all-time favorite that I watched. Gareth Bale is a very close second.
Before the man bun.
But pre-man bun.
Pre-man bun.
Pre-man bun, before he got his ears pinned back, before he grew his hair out.
Hey, I studied in Wales, so for me, I love my Welsh Dragons. So, again, you got me again. Well, why am I saying I'm liking all these Tottenham players? You guys got to,
You're a closet fan, I think.
No. Maybe. All right.
Okay.
So current favorite Tottenham player.
So current favorite player, in the moment right now, it's Eric Lamela.
Lamela, really?
Yeah.
He hasn't been playing for a couple years. So,
that was one of the reasons that makes him one of my favorites is that kind of comeback story. He missed the full, I think it was like 15 months or something.
He was gone almost 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, it was almost 2 full years that he was out.
When he started playing this year, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I remember playing with you in 2015 FIFA.
It's been great having him back. He's just playing really well right now. And like I said, too, he's a guy that, when he gets the ball, it's fun to watch. But you watch him off the ball, too. He makes just smart moves. And he's like sneaky dirty, too. So that makes him kind of
little
fun.
Gritty. Like Philadelphia Flyers gritty.
The other guy talking to Philadelphia is Dyer, Eric Dyer. I never played soccer past 5 years old at the Y.
Like every other American,
most other Americans my age.
Yeah.
So Dyer's actually a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and so
Is he really?
He is.
Why
yes.
are you making me like Tottenham right now? You
Hey.
shouldn't be doing that. You're just
Just admit it that we are more likable than Arsenal.
Well, I mean, damn it.
Do it.
I'm not going to do it. But we're red. Red's my favorite color. So, you got me there. Also,
that's also the wrong answer, but
Yeah.
that's all right.
all right.
Never
so
red.
that's cool. I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
So Dyer's, you know,
Steve Nash. You also have Steve Nash.
is there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, there's a good bit of you know, famous people that are Tottenham fans. Adele, you know, she's
Really?
a Tottenham fan.
We got Idris Elba, just saying. So,
Yeah,
you lose. He's the next James Bond. You can't.
Yeah.
All right.
That's an all right one. I'll give you that.
Okay, so
That's-
I have 3 more questions for you.
sure.
Tell me about your feelings about Pochettino. I love Poch. Are you a big Poch guy?
Yeah. I like Poch.
Mm.
You know, the other managers that we've had since I've been a fan, it was really from oh God, why Harry Redknapp. His name just completely escaped my head at the moment, but from Harry Redknapp on have been a little dicey, so to say. So Pochettino's been really great. So you know, he has a great rapport with the players. He gets them in fantastic shape.
He loves signing extensions with them. He's right by their side every
really
time.
Good with that. You know, so I like Poch. You know, he seems to have a really, like I said, a really good rapport with the players. He seems to be pretty good. I do question some of his tactics sometimes, as far as some of the substitutions that get made and some of the positions that players are put in. But you know, he yields results too. So
He canceled St. Tottenham Day.
He
St.
did.
Tottenham's. I can never say that right.
Totteringham.
Tottenham. So are you so happy that's not a holiday anymore?
I don't even recognize it, to be perfectly
Yeah, me neither.
honest. So,
Yeah, it was the only thing we had for years. So
yeah. I think we jokingly were calling it St. Arsene's Day.
That's fair.
After that for a little bit, so that still
Yeah.
I think happens pretty much.
people
annually.
forget 4th place is a trophy in Arsenal.
It's not in Tottenham.
Okay.
so just remember that.
Okay, I'll remember that.
It might be in Woolwich or wherever the hell you guys are now, but it's not in Tottenham. So
Also, fun fact: Arsenal was never in North London. We started in South London, and we invaded your territory. So, to be
Yes.
fairness, you're the original North London team.
we are the North London team.
Well, I mean, are you the team of London?
Yes.
Well, I mean, who's the last one to win the title? Chelsea. So we're both on the hot seat.
Yeah, and we were the top finishing team in London last season. So
Shit.
London is ours.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Yeah. Winter is coming.
Winter
It's
is here.
actually here for you guys. So
Okay.
winter came and it's a bitch.
It's
isn't
gone.
it?
All right. I got 2 more questions. What is the hardest thing for Americans to get into soccer? What do you think is the thing holding back Americans from getting back? From flopping, from foot fairies to games ending 0-0. What is, in your opinion, the biggest thing holding us back?
I don't know if. Well, I'll put it this way: stubbornness, I think, is the first thing, and I think maybe the only thing holding people back from it.
A stubborn American? I've never heard of one.
A stubborn American that's just like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Americans are going to soccer. Like you said with the FIFA stuff, you know, my cousin's 8-year-old kid comes up to me every time I see him talking about Harry Kane because he's playing FIFA, watching games when they're on TV. You know, people are there. There's 70,000 people showing up to games in Atlanta pretty much regularly now. There's 60,000 people in Seattle or whatever in Portland. You know, people are there. The games are there. There's just so much of it. It's so maybe the fact that it's so splintered in that there are 20 Premier League teams in England and there are 24 in or whatever it is in Germany and 20 whatever it is in Spain, that people go to different teams, so it's not a centralized focal point the way something like the NBA is, or the NFL is, or Major League Baseball is.
I guess it is like if you're outside of soccer, it's so hard to explain. Like, okay, well, there's 5 main leagues, and then they all play each other in a Champions League, but then they have their other. Like, you got to go through like all the
Exactly.
through the dirt to get through everything.
And then you throw in something like the World Cup, and you're like, wait, these guys don't play together all the time? Like, what's happening here?
And that's only every 4 years. What do you?
Why don't they play that every year? Because it's only every 4. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, this is just how it's been.
Yeah. So I mean, I think there's a you look around this room. This place was packed for the World Cup final. I mean, standing room only, like not letting people inside anymore, type of crowded. People come out for soccer for big events. Anybody that says it's not a big deal is a little naive.
Yeah.
I think one of the things
ignorant, stubborn Americans. Yeah. No, Brian, I've never. No.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I do think that hurts like MLS. So I told you before we started that I'm a bit of a disgruntled former Union season ticket holder.
Yeah.
I think people recognize when, let's say the informed person recognizes when it's not good soccer and when it's not being played right or not being played well, I should say. Right. But it's, and we have so much available to us that is played well, like Champions League,
Like watching MLS for me is like going to a family event I don't want to go to. Like watching it, I'm just there. I'm like, just dreading it the entire time. You know what I mean? But I'm there because I have to be. Because for me, I'm like, I'm gonna watch soccer.
Yeah.
But you see the drop in talent.
Right. You notice that. Because if you watch enough of it, you notice it. For me, I stopped paying because it was more of a hassle to get there than anything else.
Because the Philadelphia Union are not in Philadelphia?
They're not in Philadelphia. that hurts. Literally, they built their stadium between a river and railroad tracks, so it's that makes it complicated on getting in and out of the area.
And Chester is not exactly the best area, is it? So
I have no problem going to Chester, driving through Chester, going to the stadium, but the traffic leaving is just dreadful.
95 is the worst.
It's not even 95. It's getting to 95 that's a pain. It's getting in and out of there.
Then you gotta get to 95.
It's getting in and out of there. It's it is that noticeable depreciation in talent. And for so many years I was just handing them money every year, and they were terrible. They were bad.
Yeah.
And it just got so frustrating that I stopped wanting to go. It was no longer fun, and I started resenting the fact that I had to go. So,
Brian, you can't let that build up, man. I'm proud of you.
I know.
I mean, just,
It was about 3 or 4 years too long. The same amount of time that I spent knowing that it was the wrong move to have Philly season tickets for a while there, too.
I've been in relationships like that, Brian. I totally understand. So
that was what it was. But I think things like that hold attendance numbers back from people like the Union. When they had a decent team, they would pack the house, and it was fun.
Yeah.
But they have a decent team now, but I think they've just eroded that trust with the local fan base that people don't want to invest in it. Bottom line.
I mean, if it starts at the top, it really has to be like quelled from the top down. All right. So last question, Brian, you ready?
Yep.
Okay. I'm a blank slate American. I'm trying to get into soccer. I have no allegiance to anyone. Sell me on Tottenham. Why should I be a Tottenham fan?
Well, first thing I'd do is I'd probably say to you, why don't you come to a game here at Founding Fathers, sit with me, I'll buy you a couple beers during the game, and let's talk. And let's just watch the game and talk. And we'll watch players, ask me about them, ask me questions.
You had me at beers, but go on.
I know. It's the easy way. I don't know if you're familiar. There's a guy that is very involved with the American Outlaws that started the free beer movement many years ago.
No.
So the free beer movement was, come watch a soccer game with me and I'll buy you a beer. And we'll just talk about the game, and I hope you'll be a fan after. That was the whole genesis of his idea. So,
oh my God, I'm sold. First off, sold.
It was brilliant. I somewhere at home I have an old free beer movement T-shirt that was fantastic.
Oh my God, I need to find that and find that on the internet. I'm so excited.
I mean, that's what it is. So, all right, but anyway, blank slate American. If you're like me, you don't have the attention span you ever had. There's commercials suck. There's really every 10 seconds is when you have to pay it. Every 20 seconds is when you have to pay attention in football. Is baseball still happening? I don't even know.
I don't know.
It's so slow.
Philly still suck. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, there's no TV timeouts. It's 90 minutes in your home. and you're done.
Yeah, like when a soccer game starts, I know
you
when
know
I'm
what
going
time it's going to finish.
Like someone like with a football game or a baseball game could go 10 hours.
Yeah.
I'm glad you don't like baseball either.
I used to love baseball. I still love going to the ballpark for a baseball game, but I can't watch it on TV anymore.
My grandfather does. He's like, how?
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah.
But, just, come out to the game. The game's in and done. And if you're like me, you realize that European soccer is kind of the pinnacle of that. And their league games are all played on the weekend mornings for the most part. So, like, you still have the rest of your day.
Exactly. Or then you can go watch more football, like American football.
And then you can watch college football in the afternoon.
On Saturday, and then NFL on Sunday. Let's go.
On Sunday. It's just a perfect thing if you don't have, like, kids.
It's an excuse to drink in the morning.
And it's a great excuse to drink in the morning.
It's like,
you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
Might
as well start here on the East Coast at 7:30 in the morning with us.
Well, Bryan, this has been a lot of fun. One more question. Are you happy I didn't make a bottling joke? All right, Bryan, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thank
It was
you.
a lot of fun. Appreciate it.